Hey drummers, Garey Williams is back with another reaction and analysis video. This time we're going to be checking out my brother. No, Garey Husband, one of my favorite drummers. This guy is just beyond awesome. I'm sure many of you haven't probably heard of this guy, but you will now. Okay, I gotta pause it. I love this guy's little freezing and tugging and pulling and like he did there. The hi-hat's keeping the glue together. I wasn't sure where the pulse was. I thought I knew where it was at first, but it's kind of hard. He has this kind of thing that kind of, it goes over the bar line. You can't really hear where the downbeat is. He's able to just play lines on the drums, mixing with cymbals, and his use of cymbals are what's really cool. Now, he's been playing a lot heavy on the drums. It's a drum solo. But when you hear Garey Husband play, especially with Allan Holdsworth, which is where I first discovered his playing, is that it's so beautiful with the cymbals. There's this one tune called Sphere of Innocence, which is one of my favorite Allan Holdsworth compositions. And if you ever check that tune out with Garey Husband on drums, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. He would ride on a big china. You know, something that jazz drummers would do, but you wouldn't hear rock guys do it. And he can play some serious bebop with a small little four-piece kit, traditional grip, right hand, ding-ding-ding-ding-ding. I've heard him on some of his instructional videos and stuff, but he's mostly noted for his fusion playing, and he tends to sometimes play more open-handed, kind of a la like Simon Phillips. Dennis Chambers plays that way a lot. Of course, Billy Cobham, known as one of the first open-handed drummers, William Kennedy, Carter Beauford. There's other guys like that now. Just some really cool stuff here. So it's really cool how he gets this huge, powerful sound. I love his strokes. He plays with just this, it seems like with Kirk Covington. I'll be doing a video on him coming up. They just have this like super muscular approach to the drums and a really fat sound. So anyways, I love how he went into sort of a 6/8 kind of thing after playing more on a 16th note subdivision. Now he's in this triplet thing. Curious, where's it going to go? Almost out of time on top. Okay, there's definitely some hand-foot stuff going on. It's kind of hard to hear. Certainly the camera angle is such that I can't really see what's going on and tell, but I kind of like the fact it's a live, club date video somebody posted. So it's kind of raw. I mean, this is it. And sometimes he'll use a larger kit, but obviously this is still a pretty good-sized kit. 6-piece, 2 up, 2 down. And I don't see any left snare, but really interesting kind of stuff he's doing. I love how he plays. He gets these little thematic kind of things going on. He likes to repeat them, and then he'll bend the time in a sense where he'll maybe shift from 16ths to triplets like he did earlier. But sometimes it sounds almost like Dennis Chamberish, where it's like he's actually kind of floating and tugging, and the foot's going. He went from the quarter note to now eighth note hi-hat, so you can kind of hear what's going on a little bit better in terms of the time. The hi-hat's a little bit more active. Look at his left leg though. It's that I can't hear the bass drum. It's really interesting. The bass drum seems kind of quiet in here. Nice big fat flams spread out between 2 different drums. Love that kind of stuff. He definitely has that kind of Tony Williams vibe where you can just hear the attack of the drums, a big sound that he gets around the drums like that. There's been a lot of drummers that have played with Allan Holdsworth. The first time I ever heard him was with Chad Wackerman on drums, and that was one of my kind of spiritual drumming experiences where I was just practically moved to tears the way Chad played. I was shocked at how great his drumming was, and then also how did he come up with that stuff? That was almost even more impressive. And then of course I went back, and earlier was Garey Husband, who was the drummer that played quite often in the early days with Allan Holdsworth. He's on the IOU album. And then he shared credits with Chad Wackerman on subsequent albums. And then Gary Novak played with him. And then Virgil Donati was a drummer that I think was one of the later drummers that played with him that was pretty frightening, and several different bass players have worked with him. But I love Allan Holdsworth's playing, and again, I think of Garey Husband as just this amazing musical drummer with this really great blend of cymbals and drums. A lot of drummers will come at the drum set more to thinking drums, and as I mentioned in one of my other videos, jazz drummers come at it thinking more cymbals, because jazz music tends to be cymbal driven time, and rock and roll seems to be more like drum driven, kick and snare. So he definitely has kind of a balance, because he does have that background in jazz, but he plays more of this fusion stuff, and he's also a pretty phenomenal keyboard player. In fact, he went on tour with a Billy Cobham, I think Jazz is Dead or whatever he called his band for this tour, and Garey Husband was the keyboard player on this. And even on some Allan Holdsworth albums, he's playing drums, and he'll also play the keyboard solo. So kind of like Jack DeJohnette, these people that are just multifaceted in terms of playing 2 instruments to a very high degree. Alan White could play the keyboards too, yes. So anyways, I hope you got a chance to first get introduced to Garey Husband, and then you will follow up with some more of his playing, because to me, I love doing the drum solos, but I'm a musician and a drummer, and I like to really play music and incorporate soloing in the music. So I'll be doing some reaction videos where drummers are playing over some soloing vamps and things like that coming up, instead of these kind of more open extended solos. So there it is, Garey Husband, some cool stuff. I didn't elaborate on a lot of the stuff he was doing. Couldn't hear the bass drums very well. Certainly could hear the drums, and he has this great, super powerful rim shot sound. And I'm just familiar with his playing, having studied his playing over the many years and stealing some of his licks and hearing kind of his ideas. And so definitely was nice to my heart to hear that playing in his solo just now. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. Let me know if you want any lessons. I can show you how to do some of these things these great drummers are doing. Until then, take care, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next reaction and analysis video. Until then, bye-bye.